Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our healthcare conversations here with me, Irma Rastigaiva, and my partner in crime, Evan
Kevin
Kirstel.
Kirstel,
Yes,
yes.
we're happy to welcome Nick Adkins back
Yeah.
on our show. Hot on the heels of the new Pink Socks book being released just last month. Nick, welcome. How are you?
Oh, it's good to see you, Irma and Evan. It has been a minute. The last time we did this was October of 22, and I was in Nova Scotia. I
Oh
remember
my
that.
goodness.
I was in the
3 years.
very
Yes.
tip of Nova Scotia, up by Gampo Abbey, where Pima Children lives, and was doing this from a small restaurant cafe.
Yeah.
You get
And,
around.
Nova
That
Scotia.
is for sure.
and
Well,
where are
let's
you
actually jump.
now?
Right now, I'm bouncing back and forth between Nashville and California. I'm currently in Nashville, so it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Well, take us
Yeah.
back a little bit before the book to the very first pair of pink socks. What was the big idea? What was the proposition back in the day?
Well, yeah, 2015, Andrew Richards and I, we were co-founders at a health tech startup in Portland, Oregon that had created some cool technology around how to securely handle video files in the healthcare environment. And we needed to, like every startup, raise money. And one of the best ways to get on everybody's radar is to start going to the events, conferences where people who use your technology are going to congregate. So I looked up and found this conference that was like the Super Bowl of healthcare IT professionals called HIMSS. You're very familiar with it. And that year in 2015, it was in Chicago. And so here we were in Portland, Oregon, trying to decide, okay, we obviously don't have any money for a booth or any of that. So we just need to go in there. And, in 2012, I stopped wearing pants. I started wearing a kilt. So here's 42,000 people are going to descend on Chicago in suits and ties. And here's me in a kilt. And I told Andrew, he said, just wear some blue jeans and a brew pub shirt. I'm going to get 100 pairs of these funky pink socks with the handlebar mustaches on them. And we're just going to put 50 in my little backpack and 50 pairs in your little backpack, and we'll go rolling in. And every time somebody says, hey, what's your story with these pink socks? We'll say, Nick, this is Andrew. And we'll gift them a pair of pink socks. And we started using this hashtag at the event, pink socks, always one word, always plural. And, that's back in the day, 2015, Twitter was still fun. So we had a really good time taking pictures of everybody in their pink socks and posting that on Twitter and using the hashtag. And it went viral at that event. We met a lot of really cool people who are still great connections today. And, that's really how it began. It was just Andrew and me showing up in Chicago, trying to meet people and make connections. And we did that by this ethos of gifting these pink socks. And as that kind of took off, and that conference, we went viral. We started to go to other conferences throughout the year, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And it was like, oh, we're the pink socks guys. And we just kept giving away more pink socks and playing on Twitter more and having fun with it. And then in 2017, I got invited to go do that TEDx talk in San Francisco about pink socks and the power of connection, and how we had by that point become a global movement around the world. And it just took off. And by 2019, we had incorporated as a nonprofit organization based out of Portland, Oregon. And then the next year we would get our 501c3 status as a tax exempt charitable organization, because by that point we had started helping lots of other nonprofits promote the work they're doing. We got involved with schools along the way. I mean, I know we're limited for time, but all of this is kind of in detail in the book. And, when I wrote the book, it was difficult to decide what to include and what to leave out. There's just so many stories over these 10 years. April of this year is our 10th birthday. So, over 300,000 pairs of pink socks later that have been gifted all around the world. So many stories of connection and heartspeak that have been shared along the way. So the book, friends of ours, shared friends of ours.
Let's talk about the book. First of all, I want to show. So this is This is a pair of pink socks that I am going to be packing in my backpack as we head to CES in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So let's switch from the pair of pink socks to the book that describes how it's called Pink Socks. Let us see the book.
Yeah.
Hold it up. Pink Socks, how a pair of socks became a symbol of love and connection. So Nick, tell us how Pink Socks, giving a pair of socks, turned into a movement that it is now. And tell us about the book. Why now? Why the book?
So for years, people said, Nick, you should write a book. And I'm like, no. And then, so really the book it tells the story of Pink Socks, how a pair of socks became a symbol of love and connection. So it tells that backstory. So when I wrote the book, there are really three audiences that I wanted the book to speak to. Circles, if you will. So this first circle, this first audience are you, right? So people that are already in the Pink Socks tribe, they've got their pink socks. They've been doing this. They know who we are. So I wanted a story that would resonate with you, that would help fill in some of the details of the backstory that you're like, oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. And stories along the way that you're not aware of. The second circle were people who have heard about pink socks, but they don't yet have them. They've seen us across the way and they're like, what are these people in the pink socks? And then the third circle, that largest circle, the biggest audience, was I had to write a book for people that had never heard of this at all. So the book had to have a story, and it is sort of linear and chronological, but as it evolves, a story that resonates with everyone's heart. And it's really that third circle, that largest audience, that drove the direction of the book, the message of the book, that I wanted this message of what you and I already know, the magic of gifting and showing up with love and kindness in those moments and sharing space with people, what that can do in the world if we choose to do it. And it is a choice how we show up with love and kindness. So the book is really, at its core, it's a reminder to do what we already know, and that's to love more and to fear less. And if we can practice that in our lives, and each day how we show up, loving ourselves, loving each other one person at a time, there's magic in that. And the book is a collection of stories along the way to help us remember that path, So, because the world, it sometimes feels so dark and fractured, that we're so polarized, that we're being gaslit and fire hosed with negative fear all the time. The message of Pink Socks is that it transcends all political ideologies and geopolitical boundaries, that once we share space with people, one person at a time, no matter what our backgrounds, if we allow ourselves to share that moment in that now without any construct of judgment or fear, to just show up with love and kindness, that what we see in each other is that we are more similar, we are more alike, more the same than we are different. And that is truth. And I hope the book helps remind everyone of that and speaks to your heart and lets you show up without fear, and lets you show up with more love. And it's a reminder that, I have to practice every day. We all have to practice this. And like things that we practice, the more we practice, the easier they become. And so I hope the book speaks to your heart. I know it will. I know you guys.
Oh, I love it. And you have so many great stories. What's one story from the book that still gives you chills?
Well, I'm not going to tell you the story that gives me the chills, although there is one chapter in the book that most people come back and go, wow, I was really on the edge of my seat there for that chapter on how that was going to show up. But the one that really, they all speak to my heart. And so it was a difficult process to write the book because there's so much emotion in each of these stories that were shared along the way. For me, I guess, chapter 2 probably is right in the beginning of the book is where I had my aha moment of what Pink Socks was really about early on. So we started in 2015. In 2016, I went to my first event at Stanford, which was called, I think it was called MedX, right? And It was a patient conference, all patients driven. Speakers were patients. It was great. And after I did my little talk, I was out in the lobby of the building there and looking at the posters, and a man came up to me, and he was probably roughly my age, and he was wearing a surgical mask. And this is pre-COVID. This is 2016, so we weren't really used to people walking around in masks. That wasn't happening. But this guy was wearing a mask, and he came up to me, and we looked at each other just in the eyes, and he goes, "I really enjoyed your talk." He goes, "Do you have time? I'd like to share my story with you." I was like, "Absolutely. I'd love to hear your story." His name was John, and John went on to tell me his personal story of how he is a lung transplant recipient, that he had to have both of his lobes of his lung removed and replaced. And he tells me the story of his donor. And, his tears are coming down and staining his mask, and I'm crying. And it was in that moment that I knew what this was really all about. It wasn't about, it was about a lot of things, but for me, what I really go, aha, this is what it is. It's more than us gifting pink socks at conferences and playing on Twitter and, sharing hugs and smiles and having fun. Yeah, it is that. But at its core, it's about people connecting and sharing space and holding space to listen to another person's story, to share space with that story, to feel that story. That moment of connection, sharing that, is the true gift. The socks they're awesome, or the stickers or the hoodies or the t-shirts or whatever you have along the way that's pink socks. Those are great. Those are fun. But those are just tokens. They're just a memento, a reminder that once upon a time, I met this really cool woman named Irma in Boston, and I was sitting there having coffee, and I commented on her pink socks, and the next thing I know, she's giving me some, and we're having hugs, and it's just, I felt like I knew her my whole life. And so these are just a reminder that once upon a time you met someone and had that connection. The real gift that you give each other is that gift of connection, of holding space with each other. And so that chapter 2 and the book, I'll tell you guys, it's available on Kindle and hardback right now. Audio and paperback come out in the spring, but the hardback version is cool because each chapter and then some of the pictures have QR codes. So it's interactive. And so if you'll click those QR codes, and there is one in chapter 2, I believe chapter 2 is the first time we see the QR code. And it gives you an opportunity to go deeper into John's story in his own words and hear from his side of how that went down. And so I encourage everybody to get the hardback just for that, because it's interactive. It's also a nice, tangible gift. And much like pink socks, how we've grown through the 10 years of this ethos of gifting pink socks along the way, the book is also growing in that same manner. It's spreading and growing based on the ethos of gifting. So it's an organic movement that has grown and continues to grow just because people show up and have a gift. Yeah. So
this is so fantastic and so interesting. Of course, I had goosebumps as you were telling that story. So it's sharing, it's meeting people, it's sharing love and kindness. It's the power of vulnerability. I was going to ask you how in this hyper digital world, how do these small acts of physical connection and being with people and physical presence and exchanging something tangible, why does it resonate with people so deeply? So you can answer that question. And then also, I love how you bring, the digital back into the stories. You make it interactive. People can learn more. They can, put the book down, go online, and kind of go back and forth. So talk about that kind of the
So
real life world and digital world and how they
right. Yeah. There's some QR codes in the photo section, and some of my favorite, I guess one of my favorites is the QR code that goes to Chris Hadfield, Commander Hadfield, the Canadian astronaut who was on the space shuttle, and he played the David Bowie song with the guitar. He has pink socks, and his original Instagram post, first time he wore his pink socks, he posted, you can hit the QR code and go to his original post and boom, see it living color. That stuff's fun. I mean, we have 5 astronauts now that have pink socks. Deepak Chopra has pink socks. And it's just been fun to see who's been gifted pink socks along the way. And everybody's been gifted pink socks by another person, right? It's a one-on-one gifting experience. I mean, forget the digital age or this AI age. I mean, this thing, it's so, people confuse connection, this thing, with connectivity. This is connection. We're drowning in connection, but we're all craving authentic connection. We're doing that right now. We're using connectivity, this platform, to have a connection, to have something that's real. And, those moments of true, authentic connection, they happen in real life every day if we will allow them to happen, if we have some intention around it. And how do we do that? Well, let's take out our AirPods. Let's put this down. Let's look at the person next to us on the bus and say, hey, I'm Nick. How's it going? What's your name? Shocking, right? Start a conversation. I mean, get off of this for a minute. Allow ourselves to let the algorithms have a rest and just come out of our minds and back down into our hearts where we know the way, where real people exist and have that connection. I mean, when I say we crave it, it's humans, it's hardwired in our brainstem back here. It's in the code of our DNA. We crave connection with other humans. And when you realize that and accept that, you say, well, hey, the person sitting next to me, they want to connect as bad as I do. Just one of us has to make the first move here. And as you know, your pink socks have been a catalyst, have been something that helps you have that connection because someone sees them and says, hey, those are cool. That's fun. That's funky. What is it? What's the story? That's an opportunity for you to connect with someone. And you've been doing that through the years over and over and over. So you know how this works. And, what I say to people, maybe pink socks isn't your thing. That's okay. Great. Doesn't have to be. Find what is your thing. Maybe it's a hat. Maybe it's a flower. Maybe it's a pin or sticker. Whatever that thing is that sparks a connection with someone so that you can have this shared space of a further conversation. That is the gift. You should lean into that as much as you can. And the book is, again, just a reminder of how you can continue to show up in each now. Easy time. I always say, what's the easiest place if you want to really spread some love and kindness? Go to the post office. Stand in line at the post office. I mean, if you want to see an opportunity for you to show up and change the dynamics in a room, because there's always at least that one person who's losing their shit at the post office because they can't believe how long the line is and somebody up front's paying with pennies and I've got to be at a meeting and so thankfully I always have my little backpack, and if I'm out of socks to gift, I at least always have these stickers to gift. And I'll just say to the room, I'll turn around, look at people in line. I'll say, hey, this is a really good opportunity for us to practice patience. So let's be grateful for this meditation opportunity that we have here. And all we have to do is show up with love and kindness. Each of us are already doing that. I go and I hand each person a sticker and say, it's good to see you. Let's keep doing this. Let's love more. And boom, just changes the whole room. And we never know those little moments of connection, how something so small can be so large in someone's life. They may be like us at times, having the worst day of their life. And something small like this can be so, so big.
AI is changing the game of business. Will you be on the winning team? I'm Jordan Wilson, the host of the Everyday AI podcast and your coach to help you learn the X's and O's of AI. Artificial intelligence isn't just a new player in the game, it's a new sport altogether. So if you don't quickly put AI into play, your competitors will run up the score. I've spent my whole life building winning teams, from coaching basketball to working with big players like Nike and Jordan Brand. My next move? Helping you win with Everyday AI. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or on everydayaipodcast.com. Let's tap into AI together and put points on the board.
Oh, that is huge. And many people don't realize behind the warm and fuzzy Nick, the kilt, the beard, you were a suit wearing MBA, chief operating officer with two healthcare companies, health tech startups. I mean, you have a long industry background. So, beyond the warm and fuzzy side of the Pink Sox movement and culture, there is actually a sort of a business utility angle on this. I mean, you've seen Pink Sox change cultures inside organizations, inside healthcare settings in a meaningful way. Talk about that if you would as well.
Yeah, I mean, for most of my adult life, I was a suit and tie guy. Custom suits, the cufflinks, the whole deal. Yeah, I
Hard to
didn't have a
believe.
beard. And then in 2010, I went to my first Burning Man and came back and decided, hey, I was kind of done with the suits and ties and wanted to kind of lean into more of a, showing up with love and hugs and see where that would go. So, when I've been through the years, I've been very grateful to be able to speak all around the world, be the keynote speaker at all kinds of events. And pre-COVID, it was great because it seemed like I was going to Europe 4 times a year to speak. And I guess one of my most memorable things was and I'm not going to name the company because we all know who I'm be talking about with the CEO, but he invited me to come in and say, look, I'd like you to speak to our whole company. And we're going to have a company-wide meeting. And we're trying a culture shift here of making this really, a fun place to work and get people out of the negative headspace of, the pandemic and politics and this and that. We really want to say, coming here is a safe place for your heart. It is, we are a community here at work and go beyond just like, yeah, this is the place you show up and this is the place you get a paycheck from. We want it to be, have a sense of community here. And we think Pink Sox is perfect for that. And because he's, I've been wearing Pink Sox for years now, but I want to bring that culture in to the company. And what shook me the most was he goes, okay, Nick, before you do your talk, he goes, what I've started with the company is every time we have one of these company meetings and they get together routinely, I think every Friday morning they do a coffee break for the whole company and the CEO is there. And he goes, I'll go first. I'll go, great, go first. And he gets up and he gets a book of poems and he reads a poem to the company, a poem. And the poem was all about love and kindness. I was like, what a beautiful way to start the day. Your CEO is reading poetry to you. Yeah. And I was like, my talk's going to be easy. You're already doing this. You're already so ready for this to be able to show up with love and kindness and empathy. I mean, come on, let's get real. What's happening in every now, guys, is love and fear. That they coexist. Love and fear. So we love more, we fear less. Love and fear are always here. Let's think of attributes of love. Kindness, empathy, like a T account. Let's list some attributes of love. Kindness, empathy, compassion, sympathy, cooperation, anti-bullying, inclusion. I mean, we can go on. Those are great. Attributes of fear. I mean, grief, shame, judgment, racism, xenophobia, homophobia, bullying. I mean, we can go down that list. These things coexist in each now, and they show up over and over and over. So we have to make this choice of what we want to focus on, of what we want to put our energy into. These ideals of love. And they're not just ideas or ideals. These things are the glue that hold us together as humans. These are the things that keep us connected. And the book is simply, like I say, it's just a reminder of what we already know to be true. Maybe we've just forgotten through all the chaos, the perma-crisis that we find ourselves in each day.
Mm.
Give yourself the gift of stopping, sinking back into your heart, grounding, breathing, seeing yourself and someone else, that shared humanity of how we're all in this together.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You was this example about the CEO. You kind of give me a perfect segue to my next question, because you talked about the human to human, one-to-one connection. But what have you personally learned about leadership through this journey of connecting individually to people? Because you've been talking on stages, you've been, helping CEOs change cultures.
Yeah.
What is it about the nature of leadership that you've learned?
Yeah, well, I think I probably knew this before Pink Socks, but I'm going to go back to that day one in Chicago. And what I said to Andrew before we rolled into the McCormick Center and gifted our first pair of socks to Eric Topol, which really, and that's also in the book. I know you guys know that backstory, but that really was like, seriously, we just gifted a pair of pink socks to the number one guy on the whole social media space and the digital healthcare world.
Good way to start.
And just like, thank you, universe. And he was so gracious and accepting the gift and tweeting it out and like, oh my goodness. Is Andrew and I said, look, we're just a couple of hippies basically from Portland. Nobody's heard of us. And we just want to work with nice people, nice companies who get it. We don't want to work with a bunch of douchebags. We want nice people. We've got a really cool thing going here, a cool little startup, it's fun. And let's don't ruin that by, having to work for or with someone who sucks. And so the pink socks, and we'd walk into a room and, you'd see all these people going by in suits and ties, rolling their eyes. Like, some had that look like maybe they should call security and get us thrown out. And Andrew and I would just stand there. We'd look at each other and we'd say, great, that's somebody we don't want to work with. So we were really grateful that these people would qualify themselves like that. The people who did come up to us, yeah. And those are the people that we were instantly day one having connections with. Hey, come meet with our CEO at Intel. Come meet with our chief medical officer at Dell. Come over here to Walgreens and meet the CEO. On and on and on. I mean, it was just day one like that. And so we were like, great. Like is attracting like. These are the companies we want to work with. These are the companies we want to do a pilot with or partner with. Yeah, not those folks. And then, as Pink Socks became a thing, it was funny, over time, some of those original people who were like, no, I'm not talking to those guys, couldn't come talk to us fast enough because they saw the value in being part of the Pink Socks tribe and how that we were all so connected and celebrating each other and lifting each other's work up, that it wasn't, so it was fun to watch some people change, if you will, from like, get these guys, get these bums out of here to, hey, come talk to us. So
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful story. And for someone listening who, is empathetic to this vision and the tribe and the mission, maybe who wants to make a difference, but feels maybe too small or isn't connected through big global tech events like HIMSS, what's your advice? Obviously, buy the book. I mean, that's an easy, great start. But then what? What's your advice?
Right. I would invite you to come to the website, pinksocks.life, and see what we're doing and see how this has grown and navigate through the site. Click up on the navigation bar, the part that says teachers, schools and teachers, how we became involved with schools around the country. That's also in the book, 2 important chapters of the book, which are super emotional to write and super, super emotional each time I even think about it. And, if what we're doing, if any of that resonates with your heart, join us. I mean, donate. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. So all the donations are tax deductible, and you're helping an organization that's spreading love and kindness around the world. There's that TEDx talk in San Francisco, which really goes into the backstory, the origin story of me going to Burning Man and how this all happened. But yeah, come to the website, pinksocks.life, learn about what we're doing. If it resonates, donate. We have corporate friends. I'm glad you're down. That's the footer of our homepage. And, you can click through that, see what our friends are doing. So we exist on philanthropy, individual donors, family funds, corporate friends, grant money, et cetera. And if any of this speaks to you, and I'll just invite you to listen to your heart. It knows the way, and we'd be grateful to see you. Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to see you, and it's been too long. Can't wait to see you in person. Always better than online. Thanks so much, Nick, for what you do.
Yeah. Thank you, Irma and Evan. I'm sorry I missed you in Boston last month. I know that things were just kind of short notice and everybody's busy, but everybody's got grandbabies now. So yay.
We'll see you next time. Hopefully soon. Thanks so much for joining. Thank you everybody for listening, sharing, checking out more about our guests and the book in particular. And we'll see you all soon.
All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Right. Take care.